Hi friends, I am Landy. If you like our videos, please like and subscribe. It will really help us to produce more content. Have fun watching.
Jamie True, the dragon who was afraid of fire. Once upon a time, in a land of rolling green hills and towering mountains, there lived a young dragon named Flicker. Now, Flicker wasn't your usual dragon. He had big, shiny wings, a tail that could knock over a tree, not that he would. He was very polite, and scales that shimmered in the sunlight like 1,000 tiny mirrors. But there was one big problem. Flicker was afraid of fire. That's right, a dragon afraid of fire. You see, when baby dragons are born, they can't breathe fire right away. It takes practice. And Flicker's parents, Ember and Blaze, were the best fire-breathing dragons in the entire kingdom. Blaze could roast an entire field of marshmallows in a single puff. Ember could light up the night sky with flames as bright as the sun. They expected great things from Flicker. But whenever Flicker tried to breathe fire, he panicked. What if it got too hot? What if he burned his tongue? What if he accidentally set his favorite pillow on fire? The mere thought of it made his scales itch, so he simply refused to do it. His parents tried everything to help him. Blaze demonstrated proper fire-breathing techniques. Just take a deep breath and let it out, son. Like this. Whoosh! A massive flame shot from his mouth, and a nearby tree burst into a little bonfire. Flicker gulped. Maybe later? Ember tried to make it fun. Let's play fire tag, just a tiny puff. Flicker faked a sneeze and hid behind a rock. The other young dragons in Dragon Hollow were already starting to breathe their first flames. Smolder could toast a slice of bread. Ash could light up a candle. Even Tiny Spark managed to produce a flicker of flame, but not Flicker. One day, Flicker's best friend, a mischievous squirrel named Nutters, scurried up to him. Flicker, buddy, you gotta breathe fire. It's what dragons do. I know, Flicker groaned, flopping onto the grass. But what if something goes wrong? Nutters crossed his arms. Something could go wrong doing anything. I once tried to jump from one tree to another, missed completely, and landed on a very grumpy badger. But did that stop me from jumping? No. Did the badger chase you? Flicker asked. Yes, but that's not the point. The point is, you have to try. Flicker wasn't so sure. Then one day disaster struck. Dragon Hollow held an annual fire festival, a grand event where dragons of all ages showed off their flames, roasting delicious food, lighting up the night with dazzling displays, and even competing in a fire-breathing contest. It was the biggest event of the year. But that year, something terrible happened. A strong wind blew through the valley, knocking over a lantern. The lantern rolled into the great haystack, which promptly caught fire. The flames spread quickly, and soon a nearby barn was in danger. The older dragons rushed to put out the fire with their mighty wings, but the flames were spreading too fast. The baby dragons were huddled in the barn, unable to get out because the doorway was blocked by burning debris. Flicker's heart pounded. Someone has to help them. We can't get through the flames, Ember cried. We need a dragon small enough to slip inside. A small dragon. A dragon who could fit through the gaps. A dragon who wasn't breathing fire, which meant he wouldn't accidentally make things worse. A dragon like him. Flicker's legs wobbled. Me? Nutters nudged him. You can do it. Taking a deep breath, not a fire-breathing one, just a regular one, Flicker darted forward. The heat was intense, but he focused on his goal, saving the baby dragons. He squeezed through the burning doorway, dodging falling embers, and found the little dragons huddled together, crying. Come on, he urged, guiding them toward an open window. He flapped his wings, creating just enough of a breeze to keep the worst of the smoke away. One by one, the baby dragons climbed onto his back, and he carefully maneuvered his way out. Outside, Ember and Blaze cheered as Flicker emerged, carrying the last of the little dragons to safety. You did it! Nutters whooped. The entire Dragon Hollow erupted into applause. Even the elder dragons looked impressed. Flicker beamed. He hadn't breathed fire, but he had been brave in his own way. Maybe bravery wasn't about breathing fire. Maybe it was about doing what was right, even when it scared you. Later that night, as the festival continued, Blaze patted Flicker on the back. Son, I've never been prouder. You were the hero today. Flicker grinned. Maybe, but I think I'm ready to try fire breathing now. Just a little. He took a deep breath and let out the tiniest, wobbliest flame. It was small, barely enough to toast a marshmallow, but it was there. Nutters cheered. That's my dragon! And from that day forward, Flicker wasn't just the dragon who was afraid of fire. He was the dragon who found his own kind of bravery. Chapter 2. A Dragon's First Flame. Flicker's tiny flame wasn't much, but it was a start. Encouraged by his success, he began practicing every day. Ember and Blaze cheered him on, and Nutters, of course, provided running commentary. A little more puff, less drool, good form. Some days were better than others. One time he managed a spark that set a twig alight. Another time he sneezed mid-practice and nearly burned off his own whiskers. But he didn't give up. Then one evening, while watching the sunset, Flicker saw something strange, a dark cloud rising from the forest. It wasn't a rain cloud, it was smoke. Fire, he gasped. A group of frightened forest creatures ran past. The old oak tree is burning, a rabbit cried. Flicker's stomach tightened. Could he help? He wasn't sure, but he knew he had to try. Chapter 3. A Hero's Breath. Flicker flew toward the fire, Nutters clinging to his back. When they arrived, the flames had spread, trapping a group of animals near the riverbank. Flicker, you can do this, Nutters shouted. We need a fire break. Flicker took the deepest breath he could, focused with all his might, and whoosh! This time, a steady stream of fire blazed from his mouth, creating a controlled burn that stopped the wildfire's spread. The animals escaped safely, and the forest was saved. From that day on, Flicker wasn't just a dragon who breathed fire. He was a dragon who used it wisely, proving that courage and control go hand in hand. Chapter 4. The Frosty Challenge. One winter, a fierce blizzard swept through Dragon Hollow, covering everything in thick ice. The dragons couldn't light their usual fires, and the food stores were frozen solid. Without warmth, many creatures were struggling to stay safe. Flicker saw his chance to help. He had finally learned to control his fire, and now it was time to use it again. With Nutters guiding him, he carefully melted pathways through the snow, warmed the frozen food, and even carved a small, cozy cave for animals seeking shelter. The elder dragons watched in amazement. Fire isn't just for power, one of them said. It's for kindness, too. Flicker felt his heart swell. Maybe he wasn't the strongest dragon, but he was proving that fire could be used for good in ways no one had expected. Chapter 5. The Mysterious Cave. One day while flying over the mountains, Flicker and Nutters discovered a hidden cave. Inside, they found ancient dragon carvings that spoke of a legendary flame, a fire that could only be wielded by a dragon with courage and a kind heart. Could that be Flicker? Determined to find out, Flicker and Nutters embarked on a grand adventure to uncover the secrets of the cave. Along the way, they faced tricky riddles, playful mountain trolls, and even a very grumpy, sleepy dragon guarding the final chamber. Through teamwork, kindness, and a little bit of cleverness, mostly from Nutters, they solved the mysteries of the cave. In the final chamber, Flicker unleashed a breath of fire that glowed not just with heat, but with warmth and light, spreading through the cave like a beacon. From that day on, Flicker wasn't just a dragon who had learned to breathe fire. He was a dragon of legend, proving that true strength came from heart, not just heat. The end.